Hello everyone, it's Lindsay and I am back with another Traveler's Notebook process for you guys. I have a whole bunch of pictures still left from our camping trip to Lodgepole at the beginning of June, and so I'm going to continue documenting some of those. I am using pretty much everything from Felicity Jane. I should have my new wild hair kits in the mail tomorrow. I can't use it till August, but I will have some new products to play with. So just bear with me. I'm just trying to use up the two Felicity Jane kits that I have. So I printed these 4 photos out as 2x2s, and I saw a layout sketch. I just Googled like square 4-photo scrapbook sketch or something along those lines. And so it was a 12x12 layout, and I kind of adapted it to work for my Traveler's Notebook spread, and I really changed a lot of the things that were on that sketch. I'll try to insert a photo of what that was somewhere here on screen or something so you guys can kind of see what I was working off of. But that was a fresh way for me to have some different layouts and not just arrange the photos in the same way that I had been, or matting them the same way, or things like that. So this was a really fun change up to that. So this paper is from one of the Felicity Jane kits, either Henley or Brie. I can't remember which one. I just kind of rifled through them and pulled products from both of those kits. And I am just laying out those photos on that ombre grid paper, and by doing these photos as 2x2 and putting them super close together like this, they just barely fit 4 across and still leave me room to be able to close the notebook comfortably. So I wouldn't have been able to get any larger photos on here. And this is a series of photos from our first day camping. It was the day after my birthday, and so the hubby had sent tons of cupcakes with us for my birthday, but also it's a tradition for us to take cupcakes, and we call them raccoon cupcakes. And when I was a kid, my mother, she was a single mom, and she would take us camping all the time. My sister and I, my little brother and her, and then occasionally my grandma would come. And my grandma one year made a whole tub of cupcakes and had them in like the snap closure Tupperware container. And we left them out on the picnic table, and in the middle of the night, raccoons were able to open up that Loctite container and ate all of the cupcakes. So whenever we go camping, we say that we were taking raccoon cupcakes, and it's just kind of a funny inside family joke. And so I did some journaling about that, and it just happened that this trip fell with my birthday also, so we had birthday raccoon cupcakes. And they were just some store-bought cupcakes. My husband had also made some cupcakes for us, so we had like 3 dozen cupcakes for this short little camping trip. So it was a lot of sugar. But so there's photos from us sitting down and having lunch and eating those, and then that second from the left photo, Aiden is holding a cherry, and I did some journaling because he thought it was super funny and wanted a picture because it looked like butt cheeks. Yep, that's what happens when you have boys who are almost 11, is they totally get potty humor and are entertained by things like butt-shaped cherries. So I had to document that. On screen, I've just been pulling out some of the florals. I think these are all from the Brie kit. And you can see off to the right-hand side, I have my drawer pulled out. If you're wondering how I store die cuts, I have a Tip Tuesday video. I'll link it down below that I did recently, showing how I store all of my die cut pieces. And it makes it really easy to just pull out that drawer, rifle through, and find what I need. This little floral piece here, I was really hesitant to use because it has that really bright lime green that's nowhere else in the florals, but I didn't have anything else that would pull in that lime green, so I decided just to roll with it. Not a big deal. And then my journaling here, I'm cutting into strips. Till my wishes are fulfilled and I have a typewriter, I am just doing my journaling out on my computer and then printing it on cardstock. And I just use like a typewriter font, and that worked just fine. I sat down and did a whole bunch of journaling, printed a whole bunch of photos at one time, and did the journaling for all those photos at one time. That way I didn't waste cardstock. So on one sheet of cardstock, I was able to get the journaling for like 4 or 5 entries, and then have it all set aside ready to be used. I decided to pull out some of the Felicity Jane branding strips from the 12 by 12 pattern papers and just kind of add some pops of color and texture underneath those journaling pieces and over here in the top right hand corner. I will admit I kind of struggled a little bit because I usually start with a foundation of a pattern paper covering the notebook page, and since I didn't do that, there's a lot of white space, and I'm really struggling trying to be conscious about leaving white space but also making it so it's not super plain. So and at some point I had to switch to my Zig 2A glue pen. One, it's a little bit easier with these strips, but also my tape runner ran out and I had no refills for any of the 3 different brands that I have in my office. So that was totally unexpected. I usually have a drawer full of refills, and at some point I must just be eating tape or something. I don't know. So I have to get that, but it worked to just use that Zig 2A glue pen. It was not a problem. I did go ahead and trim these strips down pretty thin as I could get them. This big chunk of journaling is telling that story about the raccoon cupcakes, and so it takes up a lot more space than what this little corner area showed in the sketch that I was going off of. Before I attach those down, I decided to go ahead and add some watercolor splatters just to kind of add some interest to all that white space. It was kind of overwhelming for me, and so I think in the sketch, the base is like a pattern paper, and so I decided to go ahead and just pull out my Prima watercolors and use some colors that match those floral pieces. I was sure to cover up my photos. I print my photos on an inkjet printer, and so if I was to get paint or water, anything on those, it would mess them up. So I just lay a piece of scrap cardstock over them just to cover them up while I splatter things. And I have to admit, it was hard to know when to stop. Like I said, that white space was a little daunting for me. I also pulled out my Starry Kiritake Gansai Tambi watercolors. There's this really pretty gold. I knew I was going to be using some gold alpha stickers, and so I needed to pull that gold into some other areas. So the trick with these is to add a lot of water and really, really, really mix and blend and work that watercolor to get that pigment, to get that shimmer up and mixed into the water really well so you have concentrated shimmer. I had some bare spots from where that cardstock had laid, and so I'm just going to kind of fill that in real quick there. And now I can go ahead and add these word strips. I did carefully dry the watercolor off screen. I was really careful not to let my heat tool get too close to those photos. From past processes you may have seen, I tried to do some heat embossing on that photo paper and it was a disaster. So you just have to be careful with heat near those. And I will have all the products listed down below with links to those if you have questions about the printer that I use, the paper that I use, the ink program I'm a part of. All of that will be linked down below. So here I'm pulling out the gold alpha stickers from the Felicity Jane Henley kit, and then those black ones are some wonky alphas from Bella Boulevard. As I was putting this together, I realized I really don't have very many like dimensional alpha stickers because I'm pretty new to using them in my Bible journaling, so I don't have a huge stash of them yet. So I'm going to have to pick some of those up. And so I'm just spelling out Lodgepole birthday. We were camping at Lodgepole and having a little mini birthday celebration here. I realized on my last spread that I didn't mention that we were camping at Lodgepole, so I wanted to make sure that I had that documented. And then here is where it all goes wrong. I should have just stopped here, but I decided, I don't know, I'm so inspired by girls that can add enamel dots and things, little sprinkles of them, and they are just the perfect finishing touch. So I pulled out some black Nouveau drops to bring in some more black since I used that black alpha, and I'm sprinkling it in, and here's where it goes bad. It's kind of smeared. I don't like the placement of it. And now I'm just trying to add more to try to balance it out. It just did not look natural and haphazard like I was going for. I don't know. Had to work at it. So there is the spread for this week. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below and I will answer those. Check out the description box for links to all the products mentioned today. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Be sure to hit that bell notification button so you don't miss any future videos here on my channel. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.